Thank you all for coming. This is a very momentous occasion for us. Some of you or most of you were there late June, early July when we decided to have this set up in Kerala, in Trivandrum, which is, as we say, Stone country. And at that point of time, we had a lot of questions, but a lot of optimism also, as you remember. Strong support from the government, both sides of the aisle. Administration, the leadership here, the entire leadership here, including the Chief Secretary, the IT Secretary, everybody had given us the full support. The local MP, Dr. Tharoor, Mr. Alphonse Kannathan, who was then the IT Minister, Central IT Minister, was also fully supportive. But then, of course, we knew at that point of time all we knew was that we were going to do this, but we didn't know how. And we didn't know all the steps and how long it would take to where we wanted to. At that point of time, I promised you that by the end of this fiscal year, by March 31st, we are hoping to have about 500 or so high-tech technology employees work for us here at Nissan. So that's kind of where we started. We didn't have a place to sit, although Technopark told us that they will give us all the support. Government told us that we could have a land to build, thanks to that. But of course, as you know, building something takes many years. So we are in the process of going through that. But a lot of things work for us in the right way. Infosys, a good partner of ours, offered us space for our people to start sitting and operating. And the Technopark CEO told us that we could actually have a temporary space inside the Technopark Park Center itself to start with. So we started working like that. But meanwhile, we also got some space here at Yamuna, the ground floor here. You will probably see that in a few minutes, to have our own small facility. This is not going to be a large campus for us, because a large campus, of course, will be coming up in the Techno City campus, the Knowledge City area. But for this is mostly because we wanted to have our presence here, our office here in the city, in Technopark Phase 3 itself. Is that too much of a disturbance, or can I continue? So long and short is, here we are. Within less than 6 months, we actually are going to inaugurate our office here, Nissan Digital branded office. This is first of its kind across the globe. As you know, the auto industry is going through a lot of changes. This is the most exciting industry out there. The largest number of investment, R&D investment, is today going into the auto industry. For those of you who follow technology and technology companies like Google, Amazon, all these companies are now focusing on automotive as an industry. Microsoft. So when you're going for consumer shows nowadays, or consumer products, consumer solution, pretty much everything is centered around automotives. Nissan as a brand, as you know, is also one of the oldest and the most recognized brand in the world. Nissan, with this name itself, we've been operating for now about 84 years. But even before that, Nissan had some partnerships, some cars that we used to make. So it's a long legacy that we have. So one of the most admired brands in the world. I tell my team all the time that my first car that I bought with my money was a Nissan car, not knowing that I would ever work for Nissan. So it's a car that, even if you do all the research that you do, it's a car that you would buy for the merits of the car and the merits of the brand. Then, of course, we needed to have the great talent that we are looking for. Like I said, when we decided to start here, we knew that we could find talent here in Trivandrum, in Kerala, but we also didn't know, will we get all the talent that we want here in this market, or would we be able to attract talent from other parts of the country to come here and work? That was a big question for us at that point of time. Glad to say, we have a lot of extremely smart folks who now work with us, who are actually from other parts of India. They've moved here. Some of them are quite experienced, worked in some very famous brands. Some of them are youngsters from some of the best universities in the country, moved here to start working for Nissan. So that's been a great story for us. We did not have any issues so far in hiring the number of people that we wanted to hire. Like I said, the facility, the infrastructure, the support from the government has been extremely good. In pretty much every support that we needed, we've been getting that. Although, of course, as you know, Kerala is not Bangalore, Trivandrum is not Bangalore yet. So we definitely, the youngsters that are coming in here from the other parts of the country still feel that the social infrastructure, the social aspect of their life outside work is still something that is lacking. So that's something that, I think we all should work together to make sure that, how do we make this a place to attract the right set of talent? Because when you have talent, companies follow. And when you have companies, you attract more talent, more job opportunities, more revenue. So that's the right way of doing that. I think it's building the right ecosystem around and then building it for the future. But then once you have all this, in today's world, I'm sure you all would have heard the term gig economy, where people now work for gigs. People work for specific outcomes, specific projects, specific initiatives. A lot of people don't even work long-term in companies anymore like they used to do in the past. So how do you attract the digital natives who are more tuned to the gig economy? It's not just the salary alone. It's just not the brand alone. It's as Maslow's the pyramid shows, right? I mean, the physiological and some of the security and some of the very basic aspects are taken care of. You want self-actualization, self-realization. So for technologists, I mean, it's about what is the kind of work that I'm doing? Am I doing the best work out there in the world? Am I solving most complicated problems? Am I working with the best set of people that is around there? Am I having a sense of fulfillment? So we wanted to work towards that. And like I said, this facility, this building that we are building is one of a kind. It's first of a kind for us, and I'm pretty sure you probably will figure out that what we are trying to do here is to provide one of the best workspaces for our people to work. Added with that, the latest technologies that we are trying to add, we believe that that will provide the basic framework to operate most effectively. Also, we are not building here an offshore development center, just like any large outsourcing company. The team that is here are directly part of my team, just like my team in Japan, just like my team in North America, just like my team in Europe. So this is not an ODC where, of course, as you know, you create a piece of definition of a scope of work, a project, and of course you throw it over the wall, and then it flies around over the ocean and then comes to India. We do the work and then we throw it back. This is not what we are trying to do here. What we are trying to do here is a very immersed global team, where this team is directly part of my team that is sitting in Japan, for example. And what I told my team, I have a 10-story building in Japan where most of my Nissan Digital team today sits. So I told them that this office here, the team here in Nissan Digital Hub in Trivandrum, for us is the 11th floor of our office there in Japan. So how do we work together? How do we work together as a team without the distance being a problem? Because as you know, when you're not building like the old ways of ODC, when you don't have clear definition of work product, when you work in an agile environment, it keeps on evolving. You have to work very closely with each other, with the business teams who actually have a problem, with the rest of the digital team members who are building it. And those people, like I said, could be sitting here, could be sitting anywhere across the world. So how do we do that? So you will see some of the resemblances of that. The other thing I mentioned last time when we talked was that this facility will host more than half of my team, at least half of my team globally. So which means that the importance of this facility for Nissan is secondary. What are we going to do here? We talked about software development. We talked about large-scale application development, application operations, maintenance, etc. We talked about cyber security. This facility will host our security operations center where we want to monitor all our assets, physical assets as well as moving assets across the globe, and manage them. This facility will have probably our largest concentration of AIs and data scientists. This facility will have our largest number of software engineers across the globe. This facility will host most of our center of excellences, or drive a lot of the center of excellences from across the globe. So all in all, what we have is a great promise. What we have is a great beginning, and a lot of goodwill and support from all of you. So I'll pause here, and I'll definitely answer some questions. I'm sorry about the technology glitch here. I mean, as you probably know, this is not directly my office; it's outside my office, so I can't control much. So, but of course, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that is relevant today. ഇവിടെ എത്ര ജീവനക്കാർ ഇപ്പൊ ഞങ്ങൾ do you mind if I answer in Malayalam, or do you want me to answer in English? Malayalam is fine. Okay. So if you remember, we had our official launch on the 29th of June. We literally started hiring from the next Monday onwards, which I think was the 1st of July, if I'm not mistaken. So we started hiring from that point on forward. As of today, we have given offers to about 350 people. So we already have about 350 people working for Nissan Digital here in Trivandrum right now. And of course, the hiring is going on as we speak, and we can hire faster if you really ask me. But again, remember, this is a facility that we are starting from scratch. I really don't have a lot of I don't have any existing leaders here, existing teams here. So you can't also bring them on really too fast, because we have to show them what automotive industry is all about in some cases. In every case, we have to show them what Nissan is all about. In every case, we have to show them what we are trying to do as a team. They need to know each other, the culture, the integrity, the values. So everything has to be built together, meshed together. So that takes a slightly longer time. So if you really ask me, that is the only reason why it's going the way it is. But we are ahead of our plans. Like I said, our plan was to get to about 500 by the end of this fiscal year. We are definitely ahead of that as we speak, and we will definitely meet those numbers, and probably we'll continue that phase. So we are not stopping at that 500 as we planned at that point of time. We plan to continue the ramp up and then go as high as we can. Again, the capacity constraint being, how many leaders do we have? How do we bring them on with the right culture, without breaking, etc. Sorry, I didn't Malayalam or English. ഇവിടെ ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു ഡിസ്റ്റിങ്വിഷ് ചെയ്യുന്നില്ല. സോ വാട്ട് വി ഡു ഈസ് എൻ്റെ ടീം ലോകത്ത് ചെയ്യുന്ന എല്ലാ ജോലിയുടെയും ഭാഗമാണ് ഇവിടെയുള്ള ടീം. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ഓട്ടോമോട്ടീവ് ഇൻഡസ്ട്രി എടുത്തു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ, so let me take one step back. I told you, right, this auto industry is going through a large revolution as we speak. You all know about electrification, right? Electrification ഭയങ്കരമായിട്ട് നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. Nissan is actually a leader in electrification. Our Nissan Leaf, actually it's downstairs. I really hope you get to see that when you go downstairs. Nissan Leaf is the largest selling electric vehicle in the world. So that is one major driver. Now in an electric vehicle, it's not the old traditional mechanical car that because പണ്ട് നമ്മൾ എഞ്ചിനീയറിംഗ് പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ, പണ്ട് നമ്മൾ automotive പഠിക്കുമ്പോൾ, it was about the internal combustion engines, right? It all started with that, right? There's no more internal combustion engines, right? It's an electric motor that is powering the wheels, and the car is propelling forward. Autonomous vehicle, right? Self-driven cars. That's huge. Karanam, Nissan at this point of time is one of the leaders in autonomous driving. We actually do have pilots going on in Japan as we speak, and in North America, where we have cars running on its own and pick up people and then keep driving forward. We are one of the leaders in that. But the best part of autonomous research, and this is where a lot of research is going on, is that it can improve the safety.
കാറിൻ്റെ സേഫ്റ്റി വളരെ നന്നായിട്ട് ഇമ്പ്രൂവ് ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കുന്ന, സോ ഫോർ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഓട്ടോണമസ് കാറിന് വൺ ഓഫ് ദ ബിഗ് തിങ്സ് ഈസ് ദാറ്റ് ഇറ്റ് ഹാസ് ടു അതിന് ലെയിൻ അറിയണം ഇതിലേ പോകുന്നത് എന്നുള്ളത്. 2, കൊളീഷൻ പാടില്ല, കാരണം നമ്മൾക്ക് റിയാക്ട് ചെയ്യാൻ ആൾക്കാരില്ല. So Nissan we have many technologies that enable us to do that. അപ്പം even as early as few years ago we used to make cars that are intelligent enough not to swear off the lanes. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഫ്രണ്ടിൽ ഒരു ഒബ്സ്റ്റക്കിൾ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇടിക്കാതിരിക്കും, ഫ്രണ്ടിൽ ഒരു കാർ സഡനായിട്ട് ബ്രേക്ക് ചെയ്താൽ ഈ കാറും ബ്രേക്ക് ചെയ്യും. സോ ഇറ്റ് ഡസ് ഓൾ ദാറ്റ് റൈറ്റ്. ഇപ്പം ഞാൻ ജപ്പാനിൽ ഓടിക്കുന്ന കാറിൽ ഒരു ബട്ടൺ ഓൺ ചെയ്ത് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ എനിക്ക് റിലാക്സ് ചെയ്തിരിക്കാം, വലിയ ബുദ്ധിമുട്ടൊന്നുമില്ല. So those are some of the new technologies. So autonomous പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഫുൾ ഓട്ടോണമി നോക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. കാരണം ഫുൾ ഓട്ടോണമി നോക്കണമെങ്കിൽ ഒരുപാട് റെഗുലേഷൻസിൻ്റെ ഇതുണ്ട്. ഗവൺമെന്റ് റെഡി ആവണം, നമ്മുടെ സൊസൈറ്റി ഇക്കോസിസ്റ്റം റെഡി ആവണം, ഇൻഫ്രാസ്ട്രക്ചർ റെഡി ആവണം. പക്ഷേ those research that is going on can improve the cars that we sell and that we make and we sell. മൂന്നാമത്തെ one of the major things that is going on is all about the consumerization of how we buy cars. പണ്ട് ഇപ്പോഴും മോസ്റ്റ്ലി in most countries നമ്മൾ കാർ മേടിക്കുന്ന ഡീലർഷിപ്പ് വഴിയാണ്. So even though you are buying a car, you are not really buying the car directly from the brand itself, right? Brand into distributors of dealers who are the guys who give cars to us. അപ്പം അത് മാറിയിട്ട് ആൾക്കാർ ആർ സോ യൂസ് ടു മറ്റേ ഇപ്പോഴെല്ലാവരും ആമസോൺ ഒക്കെ ഓൺലൈൻ വഴി മേടിക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാർക്ക് people think, I know the car very well. Why should I even go to a dealer to buy a car? Why can't the car come to me? Why can't the car come to me and I can do the test drive? Why can't I configure the car that I want? And why can't I just click one button and then I can finish that process? Why can't I click one button and I get financing for the car, etc., etc., right? So that consumerization, that whole e-commerce side of the selling of the cars is becoming huge. We think that I'm of the opinion that we should start selling cars from a kiosk. Go a credit card swipe, you just take the car and drive off, right? It should be as easy as that, because a lot of us know the cars that are there in many cases. These 3 things, really, is driving a lot of the advancements. The other thing that you find is that automotive industry is changing into a service model. The ownership model is changing. പണ്ടൊക്കെ ഒരു കാർ മേടിക്കാന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ യൂസ് ടു ബി എ മൈൽ സ്റ്റോൺ ഇൻ അവർ ലൈഫ്, അല്ലേ? കല്യാണം കഴിക്കുക, കുട്ടികളുണ്ടാകുക, വീട് വെക്കുക, ഇങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ ഒരു ജോലി കിട്ടുക, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പറയുന്ന പോലെ ഇറ്റ് യൂസ് ടു ബി എ ഹ്യൂജ് മൈൽ സ്റ്റോൺ വെൻ യു ബൈ യുവർ ഫസ്റ്റ് കാർ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു ഫസ്റ്റ് മോട്ടോർ സൈക്കിൾ. ഇപ്പോഴതിനൊന്നും ആവശ്യമില്ലല്ലോ. ഇപ്പോൾ ആൾക്കാർ വണ്ടി മേടിക്കേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല, കാരണം യു ക്യാൻ യൂസ് യുവർ ആപ്പ്, കാർ കിട്ടും. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ യു ക്യാൻ ആക്ച്വലി ഷെയർഡ് ഓണർഷിപ്പ് ഓഫ് കാർസ്. നമ്മൾ 5-6 പേർക്ക് കൂടി or a few of us can buy a car together and none of us really wants the car. Whenever you want a car, you take it, you use it. മറ്റേ നമ്മൾ പണ്ട് ഈ റിയൽ എസ്റ്റേറ്റിൽ you have the shared ownership അല്ലെ എന്ന് പറയുന്ന പോലെ you can actually have those kind of things. So in a way then the automotive industry, the car is actually not going to be a product that you buy, you maintain it, you use it. It's actually turning into a service, right? Kilometers as a service, for example, right? And then car മേടിക്കുമ്പോൾ ഒരു കുഴപ്പമുണ്ട്, എന്ത് മേടിച്ചാലും, right? There's something called a buyer's remorse. നമ്മൾ കാർ മേടിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞ് 1 മാസം കഴിയുമ്പോൾ പുതിയ മോഡൽ ഇറങ്ങും, right? Then we start thinking oh my god, I should have waited for one more month, right? In this scenario, you don't really have to own one particular car. You can actually have share in a particular brand. Then you can drive any of that car, right? If I'm in a mood for driving a sports car, I can take a GTR. You'll be able to see that today. You can and one of the best sports cars in the world. You can take it for a spin. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ വേണ്ട, ഞാനിത് കുറച്ച് എൻവയോൺമെന്റ് ഡേ ആണ്, so let me drive a Leaf to work. I can take a Leaf. അത് വേണ്ട, I have to take my family to the airport and I need to take some big suitcases, so let me take the big petrol SUV, etc., etc. So you can actually change all those things, right? All this is driven through digital. All this that I talked to you about is not the traditional mechanical engineering of the car anymore. This is all digital stuff that we are talking about. So how that then can we contribute to that? So the team here at the end of the day is doing work that contributes to all of that. Now in the car life cycle, right? In the life cycle of a car, you start with a design, R&D, research and development, and then once you identify the car, those days, the old days, we used to create the clay models, like a napkin varaikkum, many scale models, full scale model, alkar vandu kaanum pottikkum thirichundakum, etc., etc. Today with technology tools, right? Augmented reality, virtual reality, you can actually design the car. You can put the car in any environment you want. Oh, do you want to see how the car looks like in the desert of Middle East, or do you want to see how the car looks like in the snow in Northeast in the US? You can actually see that too. You want to go a particular street, or how does it compare to another car on the road? We can do all this through augmented reality, etc. Then you come into, of course, engineering, the proper engineering end-to-end, all the engineering tools. All the tools are provided by my team. Then manufacture. Again, cars are not manufactured in one country. All the parts are manufactured in one country, assembled in one country, and sold in one country. It's a global ecosystem, a global supply chain ecosystem. So parts could be coming from any part of the world. You could be assembling in any plant anywhere in the world, and the car could be going anywhere in the world. So it's a global manufacturing, global supply chain. Once you make the car could move anywhere. It could go anywhere in the world. So it keeps on going like that. So that whole manufacturing supply chain. Then, like I said, the sales and marketing aspects of it. Sales finance. Nissan has a large, big financing company where we actually finance cars for our customers. Then we have the after sales and the service associated with that. Then the back office systems, right? The finance, the HR, the payroll, all these systems, right? So my team here would be part of pretty much all of those things that we are talking about and beyond, and through new technologies actually, artificial intelligence, new age software development, etc. Yeah, so the question was how many are we planning to hire by next financial year? I don't know the answer to that, to be honest with you. It will be a good number, it will be a large number. And the reason is that as we speak right now, we are planning our next year. 2 or 3 things we have to plan. One is the amount of freshers that we hire, as well as experienced folks that we have. There has to be a balance, number one. Number two, how effectively we are able to utilize this model. We are still very early in the stage of utilizing this, the outcomes, etc. So I really want to see the model that we are building here. Like I said, is not a traditional ODC model. It's a net new model. It's a collected global ecosystem that works in an agile model across the globe, which has never been done by any company. And I promise you, it's never been done by any company to the scale that we are trying to do. So it's an experiment that we are doing. So we have to really figure out how effective that is happening. If it is really effective, then we will hire more. The other thing that we are doing is our partners here in Trivandrum or across the globe are now adding people in Trivandrum. So they are working with our people on a daily basis. So it's just not my people alone that we are using right now. We are using our partners from here in Trivandrum, or some of the partners from across the globe are putting people in Trivandrum. So they are an extension of my team because some of them already know my business very well. Some of them have been working with us for many years. So if I hire somebody net new who doesn't understand this and who doesn't understand the problems that we are trying to solve, might be more difficult. So in the early stages, we might use more of our partners, still local, but maybe less employees. So we don't know the exact number, but we think that we can easily go to in the end state 3,000-ish or so. But I don't know the exact number for next year. But it will definitely be a good progress. This is when I have to ask you the question: do you want the party line or do you want the truth? but there are a couple of things. Number one, we today have a lot of people from Trivandrum we've hired. Has it been easy? No, it was not very easy because between us friends here, the quality of talent that we find in some of the universities in India outside Kerala has been extremely good. In Kerala, it's been slightly behind what we expected. So we had to definitely work a little harder to find the right talent here for many reasons. Like I said, right? I mean, it's about what is it that we are getting trained to do. I'm a grad, right? I know exactly what I studied, and I know the time that I got out, what was relevant and what was obsolete, right? Automotive, I talked about all these things in automotives. It will be very difficult to find any university, any college that is teaching some of these things, right? No offense to my teachers, but teachers like to teach the things that they studied, right? But then technology changes so fast. Every 3 to 5 years, technology literally turns upside down. But then we still keep teaching the same notes. Right? So those things don't help us nowadays. So what we really need to do is to have an academic curriculum that is not to protect the interest of whoever, but it is something that has to be open. If you university syllabus, it's actually electives. You can pick the subject. But even in some of those subjects, it's flexible. They bring the best people from outside and talk about what is really going on in the industry, how we can, how you can be a good leader, how you can be, doing what you do. Now, I actually personally am associated with two universities, University of Columbia in New York and Stanford. And the topics that you teach is not from your syllabus that somebody wrote 10 years ago. If you have engineering pass university, I can get the last 10-15 years question paper. I can actually pass. Right? I don't need to study any subject. What we are doing here is genuine real world problems, and you have to really apply that. So we found that it's really difficult. We really have, if we have to be successful, we really have to change. We're open mind to it. Open and it has to be a lot more practical driven rather than subject driven. Right? It's really not going to help you. That's not helping. You have to really start doing projects. You have to really start working together collaboratively, solve problems that you haven't even seen before. So you have to create a generation that can think, that can challenge, that can understand a problem. Here what I find is that, I know Java. I know some programming language. That's not going to help you, because you need to know how to apply that in a real world environment. So it was to answer your question, it was difficult. But having said that, the government, the higher education department is doing a lot of good things. Dr. Usha Titus is a very strong supporter and a believer in the fact that this has to change. The Chief Minister himself is a direct proponent of improving the way the education happens. So I'm already working with some of the big companies in India, and we are also trying to tie up with some of the universities, etc., to see how we can bring that that vibrancy to the youngsters who are studying here. But then, side by side, if you go in, you'll find that some of the talent that we find from the northern states, north of Kerala, is definitely better than what we find here. It's not lack of IQ, it is lack of that training. But having said that, what we are looking for is not academic knowledge. We are looking for the ability to adapt, the ability to learn. Quick learners, we bring them in, and the results, I'm sure, will be tremendously good as well. So it's not. I don't think the students are any lesser in their capabilities. Which I think is just a matter of we program them, and they are programming.
Any more questions?
Yeah, it's a very good question, right? So again, I'm originally from Kerala. When we left Kerala, the question is, why did you leave Kerala? You left Kerala because you couldn't find a good job here. Even if you find the first job, can you find a next better job here? Right? That's always a question for anyone who is looking for a job. Abam Bangalore Delhi Mumbai even Calcutta, right? Hyderabad, I can always or they can always move from one job to a better job, right? If they really want to. So Kerala handicap, we don't have enough companies here where people can confidently go and say that, hey, I'm going to Trivandrum, I'm going to buy my house there, I'm going to settle down, I'm going to put my children in a school there because I'm confident that I can live there for the rest of my career. That is a big challenge here. So for us to grow that, it has to grow in two sides, right? One, we have to have enough talent. But then, like I said, we've already been successful in bringing talent from other parts of the country. Actually, from other parts of the world, actually. If you have time, we can show you a few videos. Actually, one is, I had my full staff meeting last week here in Trivandrum. That people from the rest of the world came here. And once they came here, they actually placed a few of their team members to be here. So in Trivandrum now, I have my employees from Japan, my employees from US, my employees from Europe, all sitting and working in Trivandrum with my team members, right? So we know that the environment is getting there. Like I said, the challenge, of course, is the social infrastructure. ജോലി കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വൈകുന്നേരം പോകാൻ പറ്റത്തില്ല. ഒന്നാം തീയതി ആണെങ്കിൽ വീട്ടിൽ തലമുടി ഇരിക്കണം, right? This is all these kind of things that goes on here, right? So how do you build an ecosystem where you attract other people to come? But the big thing is, it's okay, I can come and work in Nissan, but what happens if I lose my job in Nissan? That's a big risk for anybody, right? Especially for somebody who's going to make this their destination when they can go to another country or another city. So the answer is that you need other options. At Trivandrum, we have a few good companies, but we don't have enough. We don't have good global brands here yet. So what we need is to bring some of them. Now, when some of them comes in, what you find is more talent comes in. Just like in Bangalore, right? Bangalore, it's a chicken and egg, right? Did the talent come there first or the companies came there first? So you have to really keep on going through that. And then what you find is that when some of these companies come, talent will absolutely, confidently start putting Trivandrum as a base for them. And when the talent decides that I'm going to be here, and when talent is here, companies can put this as a base, right? And then of course the last piece is the social infrastructure. Once you put all these things together, it's absolutely a great place to be. I've traveled all across the world. I still haven't found a place more beautiful than Kerala. That is truly God's own country. And everybody that I bring here, you should see that video. You'll see that. Okay, we should play that after that. I showed it to some of my leaders, even those who didn't come here. And once I saw, they're like, "Wow, this is vacation. Are you guys really working there or having fun there, right?" So it's such a beautiful place. And you know what? We are our own worst enemies. ഞാനവിടെ ജപ്പാനിലിരിക്കും അന്ന് രാത്രി ഞാൻ അവിടെ 3.5 മണിക്കൂർ അഹെഡാണ്, വിച്ച് മീൻസ് ദാറ്റ് ഇവിടുത്തെ രാവിലത്തെ ന്യൂസ് ഒക്കെ നിങ്ങളൊക്കെ എഴുതി വിടുന്നുണ്ടാകുമ്പോൾ ഒരു 3-3:30 ഒക്കെ ആവില്ല. ഞാൻ അന്ന് രാത്രി 12 മണിക്ക് എണീക്കും. എന്തിനാണെന്നറിയാമോ? നാളെ ഹർത്താലുണ്ടോ, നാളെ ആറ് തലയാട്ട് ഒന്നേ, റൈറ്റ്? These kind of things really have a negative problem. We are our own worst enemy, right? It is not about, the knowledge industry is not like the traditional manufacturing industry. Kerala investor friendly allang ellarum parayum, but that is for manufacturing industry, right? Because you know what, we don't have enough land, we have all the other stuff associated with it, the union problems, locally, which doesn't exist anymore technically, all these things, right? But in reality, knowledge industry idonnu illa, right? All you need is a company and a talent. പക്ഷെ കുഴപ്പമെന്താണ്, അവർക്ക് ഓഫീസ് വരാൻ പറ്റണം, അവർക്ക് സേഫായിട്ട് പോകാൻ പറ്റണം. അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കാറിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മോട്ടോർ സൈക്കിളിൽ പോകുമ്പോൾ ആരും എന്താ പറയുക കമ്പുമായിട്ട് വന്ന് റോഡിൽ നിന്ന് അടിക്കാൻ പാടില്ല, റൈറ്റ്? ദീസ് കൈൻഡ് ഓഫ് തിങ്സ് ആർ വെരി ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ്. യു ഗൈസ് ഹാവ് ടു ഹെൽപ്പ്, റൈറ്റ്? To me it's a media that can help the most, because at the end of the day my impression of Kerala is what you tell me. അല്ല, ഞാൻ കേരളം മുഴുവൻ തെക്കും വടക്കും വണ്ടി എടുത്ത് നടക്കുന്നില്ലല്ലോ, right? What I hear about Kerala is from you guys. So I think you guys can create that last part of the ecosystem, which is, are you secure? എൻ്റെ ഫാമിലി സേഫ് ആണെന്ന് എനിക്ക് അറിയണം. ഞാൻ ജോലിക്ക് പോകുമ്പോൾ കോഴിമുട്ട മേടിക്കാൻ പോകുന്ന എൻ്റെ ഭാര്യ ആരെങ്കിലും പിടിച്ച് റോഡിൽ തല്ലിക്കൊല്ലോ എന്നുള്ളത് എനിക്ക് അറിയണം, right? That is very important for me, or husband, whoever it is, right? So those kind of things are very important. So what you really need to do is to start creating that environment that can bring in other companies. നാളെ ഇവിടെ എയർപോർട്ടിൻ്റെ വക കൊടി പിടുത്തം, right? And you know what, I have a lot of guests coming here from across the globe for that, right? You can imagine. Imagine something bad happens, and what is going to happen to the whole story that we are writing here, right? So at the end of the day, it's not about helping anybody. We have to really create an environment and an opportunity for people to have more jobs, and we are willing to help. A lot of companies are willing to help, but then everybody here has to put their effort. Because at the end of the day, a company from Japan coming and investing here in Kerala, who gains most? It's Kerala that is going to gain most. So we have to really create that environment for other people to come. I know it's a longer answer than what you expected, and probably I touched topics that you didn't expect, but that's a fact, right? Like I said, if I have to wake up every morning at 3:30 Japan time and then check the news, what is going to happen the next day, you know how bad situation is. We have to change that. We have to make it a positive. We have everything. We have all the ingredients. നമ്മൾ നല്ല വീട്ടിൽ നല്ല സദ്യ ഉണ്ട്, അതിന് നമ്മൾ തന്നെ മണ്ണ് വാരി ഇടുക, right? Let's not do that.
Thank you, Tony. I think that was quite